Good afternoon, everybody. This is Atmospheric Alex here with another weather forecast and discussion for our upcoming southeast winter storm potential here. Came up in the models extremely quickly, so I thought I'd get a video out today. We'll also be going over this bitterly cold air they'll be moving through as well. As you can see from the dramatic shading going from your grays to your greens, we rarely ever see that. But today we will be going over energy in the atmosphere, how that could contribute to our snowstorm, and then also our temperatures as well. So firstly, we're going to take a quick look at weather-wise with the Climate Prediction Center here, and absolutely nothing has changed since my last outlook. Still talking about a 70 to 90% chance of below average temperatures across a large portion of the eastern US here, even getting in on your 90+% down here, your Dallas, Shreveport, and College Station, your Houston, Texas, looking very significant. But yeah, all in all, just an extraordinarily cold air mass coming up, which could be historic for some areas. I'm going to say could because the last one didn't live up to that. And I wouldn't want to get flamed for saying something completely inaccurate, right? Your precipitation map here, well, we are expecting much drier conditions across the Midwest, but to the south here, yeah, we're talking about above average precipitation in the form of snow and or rain. Yes, I'm talking about snow all the way down here, possibly to the Gulf Coast. We'll get into that in a little bit as well. But generally a cold and wet pattern here developing across the southeast with tons of Arctic air digging in, undercutting an active storm track, leading to a winter storm threat in the form of snow and possibly even quite a bit of ice as well. And now we're going to take a look at our temperature maps here from the GEFS Ensemble Model Prediction. And I just want to take a look at this on the COD website because it just kind of matches my thumbnail a little bit more. So we go into Friday, into Saturday, look at this big plunge of Arctic air here. You actually have some of your mint green colors on the map. When you get colors of that caliber, that could honestly signal historic cold. I'm being serious. This is a very intense solution here. Take a look at this, just digging down here. Now I want to stop you right here. This is going to be Monday. And we are talking about all your blue colors onto the Gulf Coast, your purple and pink colors going into the mid-south to deep south, and your grays and whites, look how far south this goes. But yeah, your green colors going down into the Ohio Valley in the Midwest. This is pure Arctic or pure Siberian air here, just pouring down. This would be very, very substantial here, very significant indeed. And this is really something I don't think I have ever seen before over my years of model watching. Maybe that Arctic outbreak from a few years ago maybe got a little close to this, but this is all out absurd here. And that cold air really just sticks around. We're going to look at that in more detail though. So we will now be taking a look at your absolute minimum low temperatures over the next few days. And we can see Friday and then Saturday, here it comes. Talking about temperatures up here in Canada, just flying down into the US around, what is this, -10 to -30 degrees Fahrenheit. Very significant cold here. Very bitter cold, and we're going into Sunday, and oof. Of course, you guys up here are probably used to this, but this is ridiculous. -20 degrees across portions of North Dakota, Minnesota. Absolutely absurd. Going into the Midwest in the single digits already. Then up here, we're approaching -35 degrees in isolated locations. Just what you do not want to be seeing. Going into Monday now, this is just mind-boggling. I don't have words. Wow. -10 to -30 degrees here across much of the northern US and northern plains here, going into your northern Rockies. Absurd. Going into your Midwest, -5 to -10 degrees across the Chicago area. And just really shows you here for South Dakota. I mean, just look at that there. I really cannot say much more than this. And take a look here going into your Ohio Valley, into your Mid-South. Temperatures hovering just above your single-digit mark. Brr. That is frigid, isn't it? And going even south of there, temperatures around 15 to 25 degrees, going closer to your Gulf Coast regions, which is something you don't say that often and something you don't see that often, but we are going to be locked inside the deep freezer. My goodness. Moving into Tuesday, it sags even further south. Most of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, portions of the Northeast, we're talking about -5 to -10 degrees here. Wow, that... bundle up out there, that's all I gotta say. Going into your Great Plains here, -5, -10 degrees in the morning. Into your Mid-South, Deep South here, talking about single digits, some teens as well. East Tennessee getting in on your single digits as well. Locking yourselves in the freezer is going to be the theme here over the next few days. Moving into Wednesday, same song and dance. It just doesn't get much better than that. And on your day of where you can see snowpack through these areas, same thing. Now, I know what y'all are wondering. Will there be any snow with this pattern? Well, we're thinking there might be. Yeah, there probably will be. We're going to take a look at your energy here flying around your atmosphere. Starting with your European model, you could see a gigantic digging trough here begins to take shape. Take a look at this envelope here. Just a really classic signature, very positively tilted trough there. Which is going to be favoring good for the south here. We don't want it to be too, neutrally tilted and negatively tilted, as that might amp things up and drive things further north. So we want to see this extreme positive to suppressed look. As this carries on, your piece of energy will swing through it, bringing destructive Santa Ana winds and extreme fire weather concerns back down here for Southern California. If you live in those areas, get a fire kit ready, put emergency supplies in it as well. You are going to need those. I have a feeling once this moves on through, this will swing on through. I will say this becomes a lot more uncertain as this flattens out totally. Not really buying the solution for a totally flat system after that point. But you get the idea. Going to have a lot of southern stream energy down here, a ton of northern stream energy up here, and those two are going to collide just like so, and could produce a significant snowstorm for these areas in here. It's a large area. That's because you could see it south shifts or north shifts through time. Now, your GFS model is a huge outlier, so I'll go through this fast. You could see a piece of Baja energy emerging out west. No other model shows this, so I would throw this in the trash can at the moment. And this would be good for Santa Ana. You don't get any wind out of this, but take a look at this trough out here. Very positive, tilted trough really unfolding here across the south. And this is what you want to see. This will get more of your energy flowing, more of your southern stream energy for your snow chances. With how cold it'll be, how suppressed it'll be, this is a perfect look for a southeast snowstorm, believe it or not. As this energy does not get amped up and it stays more bundled up, tightly positive here. Very, very good look for winter weather. Now your Canadian model goes like this. We don't see your piece of Baja energy out here, so that's good. It tries, but then it fails. And what you're left with instead is this big lobe that swings down. And once again, very positively tilted trough here. In fact, this is like going straight out west here. Look at that. But we are talking about a lot of energy over here swinging around, and this is going to lead to a major, and this model in particular actually shows a historic winter storm. Not sure if I'm buying that, but tightly packed energy here flowing down to your southeast fast here. This is going to lead to a lot of problems. And that swings on through quickly and just very bundled up. And shows another lobe of potentially strong to damaging, destructive Santa Ana winds out here. Cannot forget about you all down there in the southwest. Now, the Weather Prediction Center is certainly honking their horn at the moment. This is a chance for frozen precipitation. And you can see, or rather wintry precipitation. And you can see a 10 to 30% chance here. In your light green outlines, I want to note these are very conservative maps. I rarely will ever see them show a risk this large and this significant 7 days out. This is very rare to see. Take a look at your 30 to 50% chances here in your dark greens. I've never seen a map like this. I'm going to be totally honest. For the Southeast, I have never in my life seen a map this aggressive this far out. So please take this, quite literally here. It looks pretty significant. But we're talking about Louisiana here, portions of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. This will likely be nudged off to your north into portions like, say, up in these areas a little later on in your forecast. This is a pretty good bullseye area if we were to see your northern ticks later on in the forecast period. And for your models, we're going to start by your European model here, and you can see what appears to be a bit of a system sweeping on through. You can see some backdoor energy colliding, and boom! You got a snowstorm breaking out here across portions of the Mid-Atlantic into your Appalachians. Whether or not this happens is a little bit uncertain at the moment, and whether or not I will see snow from this, don't ask me. I don't know, basically. And you can see us sliding into the northeast, a nor'easter-ish type system could bring appreciable snowfall totals. After this, we have a lot of energy dropping off down from your Rockies here, with a strong, big old cold front sweeping across the plains, and you see all your southern energy down here begins to lift off to your north. What happens when they collide? Well, it goes like this. Boom, collision. And we're talking about a winter storm along the Gulf Coast. And don't pay attention to your colors yet. Don't do that. Just know that anything in the pinks, the purples, and the blues is winter weather chances, okay? Don't want you to get too in the weeds here over this, but you can see, look at all this winter weather here across the deep, deep south along your Gulf Coast. This will, like I said, tick north over the next few days. 9 out of 10 times it does. But if it doesn't, look at how far south that is. That is definitely favorable for this upcoming pattern. And I may have said a couple of videos ago how, don't listen to this yet, they're not accurate. Well, that has changed ever since all the model guidance has stayed relatively consistent over this possibility here, if not even likelihood at this point. GFS model shows the same exact thing, but it's a little more delayed. You get your winter weather over here, doesn't collide to the northeast, there's uncertainty there, less stuff there. But you can see a much more suppressed southern look here. Your low pressure forming all the way down deep into the Gulf of Mexico here, with all of your northern stream energy digging down into your Gulf Coast. And I'm telling you, if you want a winter storm in the southeast, this is what you want to see this far out. Something that gets shoved way into the Gulf, because at the last second, you saw it the last winter storm, it'll start ticking north, slowly but surely. And a lot of people last time got caught in the warm nose, got caught in just good old-fashioned cold, hard rain. We don't want to see that again. For your winter weather fans across these areas, you want snow. You want it now. But again, it's hard to get it, isn't it? You need a suppressed look. And this is just absolutely perfect. Strong high pressure forming over the apps here. This will definitely support a better outcome in the long term. Then this stays buried in the Gulf, and it's not a fantasy run, but it is a realistic run. So what about your Canadian model? Well, we're talking about the same thing again. I mean, it really doesn't change. We're talking about this first system here overperforms a lot on this model, brings a pretty good snowstorm here to a large area. And we're talking about portions of the Mid-Atlantic, East Tennessee getting on some snow. This is not a forecast, This is somehow still too far out and still too uncertain. But you can see as we go through time, boom, big time collision down here in the Gulf. And my goodness, classic winter storm. Got your low pressure here in your northern Gulf and a major winter storm breaking out across the entire southeast. This would be a board-wide event here, and boom, just tons of heavy snow across the board. Not a forecast. All right, I want to get that out there. And just blossoms this monster across this whole area here, going even further west Talk about the Mid-Atlantic, the Southeast, the Deep South, even in Florida, seeing a major winter storm here going into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on this particular model. Absolutely crushes these areas. South Carolina getting just pasted with heavy snow. And man, this would be a storm to remember. Shows a major nor'easter, major blizzard up here as well. Oh my gosh. To all your snow lover fans out there, I'm not trying to be a buzzkill, but this is kind of unlikely, seeing something this magnitude. We just gotta wait and see, but oh boy. We've got a lot to figure out with this upcoming system, I can tell you that much. But you know, you got a lot of wind up here too, and oh man, 961 millibars, bombs out near Nova Scotia. Just please just be careful with what you see on social media with maps like this, and just know that they are not a forecast, alright? I'm even going to give you a sneak peek of the latest run. Boom, just the same thing, even bigger this time. Again, if this remains consistent for any more than 2 more days, I'm going to start getting concerned for a lot of these areas, because this has a high ceiling, and seeing this much snow, this much sleet, this much ice across the southeast would spell absolute disaster. I know everyone wants to see snow, but this is way too much for your area, and you know good and well. Now, your last model, your Icon model, here I might sound a bit repetitive, but we're just looking at model data in general. Pops off a low pressure system with your first system. Snowstorm across, look at that, Tennessee there, portions of the Appalachians, northeast. We could see something, we'll see. That would be around, you can see here on the timing, up here, Sunday into Monday. So just something to watch. And then it does explode your system here, very suppressed. This is incredible if you want snow across your mid-south, your southeast, going even a little bit tad further north into your upper southeast. This is ideal. This is a perfect model run here. You cannot get better than this for a storm signal this far out if you want snow in the southeast. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And it's so gorgeous that even the National Weather Service is biting hard on this system. Now I'm just going to play you through the panels here. You can see in your blues, your SW, that is snow, really rolling on across the South Plains here, and you can see your connection here. I know it's going to be really small to see. You could see southern stream energy down here, northern stream energy up here, colliding. You can take a look at that classic look. And honestly, this just feels like a snowstorm you'd be tracking back in the 80s and the 90s. This is so old school looking. It even shows snow showers ahead of the main snowstorm here across Georgia and South Carolina. This is as classic as a look as you can possibly get. And your main snowstorm sliding across the south, and just take a look, and absolutely just a nice projection here of what could be possible. But now moving on to your Weather Prediction Center, and we'll take you through here, and it shows the same exact thing, old school, just completely across the south, the deep south as well. We're talking about moderate snow down to New Orleans on this run, down to Mobile, Alabama, almost even down to Tallahassee getting in on it here. This is absurd. I mean, I can't get over this. You know I love snow and everything, and this is eye candy. I'm going to be honest, this is flat out eye candy at this point. And just, mamma mia. Look at this. This is exactly what you want to see. Perfect look here on this. I have no idea how we can mess this up this go around. Yeah, well, I had to knock on wood there just to be sure. And look, it even gets reinforced by another low pressure at the end there. Oh gosh. Just sign me up already. Where's the sign-in sheet? I would love to see this scenario pan out. And then your mean snowfall here on your ensemble guidance. This is the loudest signal I have ever seen on the models to date, I will say, across South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. 2 to 3 inch snowfall mean on your European model, getting in on Tennessee as well. This is an extremely classic scenario. Then going further west into Louisiana, portions of East Texas too. I have no words. Your GFS ensemble, same thing. Except this is even along the Gulf Coast. Charleston, a 3-inch snow average. You can't ask for anything better. Texas, holy moly. Again, I know you want the snow, but we could be bargaining for a little too much here. Roads may be a bit of a problem as temperatures are going to be frigid through this time frame. Then your national blend of all models. Geez. Wow. I mean, this is what you want to see here. 2-3-inch snowfall mean here going on across portions of northern Alabama, northern Georgia, most of East Tennessee, most of North Carolina, Virginia. Yeah, you get the idea. And you see your secondary splotch down here across East Texas, western Louisiana, southwest Arkansas. It is there. This is a loud signal right now, to say the least, and we will see if this holds on future model guidance. Goodness. I'm just getting a little too excited here. I apologize. I start off the videos very monotone, and then by the end of it, I'm basically throwing a whole party. And maybe even be throwing a whole pizza party if something like this were to verify. But we'll have to wait and see. And with that being said, that concludes this video. If y'all enjoyed, please be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to my little corner of the weather community down below. And feel free to share this with friends and family on social media if you wish. They would love to know about this, I'm sure of it. And even leave a comment in the section below. Let me know how I did. Is there anything I probably should change in future updates? That being said, I hope you all have a lovely afternoon and evening.